Hello everyone, Dan here from the Next Issue Podcast. On today's video, I'll be doing a review for The Gentleman. This is a new TV series airing on Netflix. So, unfortunately, I don't have Netflix currently, but I was able to catch the first episode with a friend. So, I really wanted to talk about this, and I'm a big fan of Guy Ritchie, so it is no surprise that I'm into this series. Let me give you a quick background on the series. This is also kind of a spin-off series from the 2019 film by Guy Ritchie as well, in which we'll talk about the film, I guess, a little bit because it does have a little bit to explain with that. But I'll give you a brief warning before we get into any spoilers. In this first episode, we meet Eddie Horniman, who inherits a family estate initially unaware it's home to a drug empire by a syndicate that has no plans to vacate. In episode 1, Refined Aggression, when the Duke of Halstead dies, his second son inherits everything, including the title, the house, the grounds, and a whole heap of trouble. This show stars Theo James as Eddie Horniman, Kaya Scordolino as Susie Glass, Daniel Ings as Freddie Ornament, the big brother, Vinny Jones as Jeff Sacombe. He's kind of the groundskeeper of this place. We also have Peter Serafinowicz as Tommy Dixon, and we also have Giancarlo Esposito. But I won't talk about who he's playing in this show. I feel like that'd be a really good surprise. So let me talk a little bit about the film from 2019 so that you kind of get caught up to speed and how this plays in. So, in that film, we learned that an American was trying to sell off his highly profitable marijuana empire in London. The way that they have this, the way that they do this business is by renting out the land under these lords' houses who are kind of impoverished. Like they have the title, but they don't have the means to kind of upkeep their state. So they use this all this space. They have these large estates. They use this to grow their drugs there. They have a marijuana empire. So in this series, we see kind of the flip side of that story where we're actually following one of these noble families that has a deal. Now, obviously, the son, Theo James, Eddie, is not aware of any of these things until his father passes and he meets Susie Glass, who is kind of the representative on here. So, it's a very interesting approach to the show because it continues the film without you having to necessarily having to watch the film, which I think it's very smart. I love the world that was set up in the film, so going into this, I was very excited. I do feel that this is very accessible, even if you haven't seen the film. Although I do recommend the film, I think it's great. I really like Guy Ritchie, but I understand he's not everyone's cup of tea. But if you didn't like the film, I don't know that you're going to enjoy this. This has a lot of the same trappings, right? Guy Ritchie directed this first episode. He has a very distinct shooting style. He has a very, he also co-wrote this episode, I believe. So like, there's a lot of quippy dialogue that kind of goes back and forth. But it's very charming. It's very like, cheek and tongue in cheek. It just overall it kind of takes the piss out of everything, like the topic itself. Like it feels like there's serious drama happening, but it really in the end is just shenanigans. I think Guy Ritchie also brings to life like these really interesting distinct characters as you kind of build the world. Very subtly they're introduced, and they're all just like super cool. Like that's the main thing, that that film, the film also has this just like very cool look. All the roles are pretty well defined. It's also kind of an interesting look at I guess the crime world in in London. So yeah, very excited. Now going back to just the show, I think we have some great performances. Theo James carries this entire first episode, but I think Daniel Ings kind of steals the show. His character is like this goofball, do like good for nothing older brother. There's a reason why his father chooses to inherit everything to his younger son, who's Theo James. um Peter Serafinowicz, like just he's fantastic in this role of a gangster, Tommy Dixon. Also, adding Giancarlo Esposito to anything will add just that the drama and the gravitas that the show needs. We get to see some really cool locations. Although for the most part, in the first episode, we do spend I think very smartly, we spend a large part of the show in this estate, right? I think it's great because these estates are so large that you can really you have a lot of settings within kind of built in, without having to go a lot of places. Just thinking of the Netflix shooting type of style and their resources and stuff, it's kind of a smart choice because then you can use that budget for something else. As with most Guy Ritchie projects, the music is great. I think he just has a very interesting ear for the soundtrack, especially what he wants to do. There's some stylistic flair. Sometimes we'll get text on the screen trying to explain either when they're talking a little bit of business or some slang that may not be as common, and so that's kind of out there for the layperson. So yeah, this show really hit, like, this first episode hit it out of the park. I did not expect this to come in from this side of the story, but it all makes sense. Like, it once I fully remembered what the film was about, like, it all clicked into place, and I was like, "Oh, this is so smart, such a good approach." So this show's gonna be 8 episodes. Hopefully, I can figure out a way to watch the rest. I don't have Netflix at the time, so if you're wondering why we're not doing reviews for some of the Netflix content, is because of that. But maybe I'll just get a download some episodes on my iPad when I'm at somebody's house that does have Netflix, and then I'll just watch them that way. We'll see. We'll figure it out. Don't you worry. Stay glued to the channel. I'll probably keep talking about this show. Maybe I can try to get a special guest that also kind of specializes in Guy Ritchie stuff. We'll see what we can do. But very interesting show. Great premiere episode. I can't wait to see what's next. So, if you have watched The Gentleman, either the TV show or the film, let me know what you thought about it down in the comments. As always, thank you for watching, everyone. Remember to share, like, subscribe, hit the bell so you know when we go live. That is most Saturdays, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. Stay tuned. We have more comic reviews, trailer reactions, TV recaps, all that fun stuff here in the channel. Thanks for watching, everyone. Cheers.